Right, this meeting is called to order. It's November 9th, 2021. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. We can stand, we'll begin. This time our flag is behind us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item on the agenda is the approval of previous meeting minutes, and that is from the November 5th, 2021 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Yes, I make a motion to approve.
That's a proper motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The meeting minutes are approved. All right, the third item on the agenda is the November 9th, 2021 Lerock special election, review and canvass of absentee ballots. Do we not have any?
Yes, we don't have any for you to review.
Okay.
So, there were 118 absentee ballots that were canvassed. 14 were deemed irregular, and they underwent a staff review.
Okay.
3 were missing the voter statement. 7 were missing date of birth on the voter statement. 4 had no photo ID. And 1 had a discrepancy on the date of birth between the voter statement and an absentee application. The voter statement had 2021 as their year of birth. So,
Voter statement didn't agree with what again?
the absentee application.
I'm good with taking the staff's recommendation. It's in line with our previous recommendations.
Make a motion to accept staff's recommendation.
I mean, we don't have to. We're good. Thank you. That's nice.
If we have some, usually the ones where the signatures are questionable, I am not good at handwriting. So if we had any of those, we would have. I
Absolutely.
noticed how you went through them before and how we stuck to, what had to signature what that said with the date of birth and stuff. So
Thank
when we
you.
went through, that's what we did with.
Thank you for being so precise.
It's comfortable that we're respecting it.
It is when she.
Know that they're to be done correctly.
Correct, absolutely. All right, next.
So I have a couple things. I have a voter, or not a voter, well, they are a voter, but they called in today. I have had a couple suggestions, like as far as on redistricting.
Well, hold on, Linda. We have
What do you have?
The unofficial.
the unofficial results for the 7:30 upload to the,
Right. You want us to read those?
yes. Yes.
What she want me to? When she did that, I thought, it's what I.
Can Amanda be heard?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so the unofficial results as of 7:30 for early vote. Let's do the total. Or
The total is
let's
fine.
Just do the total. All right, so 2,115 for, 740 against, 0 overvotes and 3 undervotes.
And that includes early and
That's early
absentee.
and absentee.
All right. And we're waiting for the remainder of the locations to come in. So go ahead, Melinda. Sorry about that.
So there was, I've had a couple of questions on, and I should have brought our schedule in, but defining the redistricting, like the public comment period. I've had just a couple people that have called in and said, when will the public comment period be closed? And so, and that's just to give you guys an idea. You may want to kind of look, and we can decide Friday maybe, so we can post it on the side, unless you want to tonight, but I thought you might want to look at.
I want to look at the timeline.
That's That's
And
what I-
tighten it up a little bit.
Mhm. And another thing I wanted to see if you were interested in, that I had a suggestion, I thought it was a good suggestion, but I need to just order a few things for it in order to do it, is after we have the map reveal on Friday, the drafts of we'll have 5 maps. One will be the current districts and 4 drafts. And they'll be on a big easel, a huge, it's like, it'll be 40 by, I believe it's 40 by 60. And someone had suggested like doing that at the libraries, like in the community, and maybe leave like a feed box and in like a feedback where people could put their name and address and drop in the box, and we could pick it up whenever the period is closed. I didn't know what the board would think on that, about that. I would need to order just a few easels and stuff, and maybe get them in the libraries out. And I would have to coordinate it with the libraries in order to do that. But they were kind of bringing up that some people don't have computers to be able to, look at and go online on both Pulaski and it would kind of give some community go to the library.
So those, because I'll keep my opinions to myself about the library, but are there other libraries outside of such Arkansas library system?
Well,
Are there any other libraries?
there are libraries in Wrightsville and.
That's what I'm
I'd
referring
like to see
to.
Yeah,
Which ones are cows?
They're all cows.
I thought they were all
except for
cows.
Lehman, except for Lehman, and Little Rock. All the rest of them are cows. So you've got Sherwood, Maumelle.
I know, but
I
they're,
thought Lehman was cows too.
okay. They're all,
And.
So they'd have computers? Is that what?
no, that's not where I was
Is that
going.
where you're headed?
No, it's not headed there at all.
I think.
I wanna make
the
sure that
intent is
other
just to create
libraries
other
would have.
locations
Mhm.
where the people can come and see them, right?
Because, does Proto Junction have a library? Does those other areas have
And
libraries?
see, and that's another thing, they
Those
threw
other
out their
areas.
libraries. I mean, there may even be like, if we wanted to get them at Wrightsville, City Hall, leave them,
Which
it's setting to view, and we can get their feedback, and maybe, I was gonna look at the cards and see, want to put name, date, and, here, because we have, our ballot boxes are their stuff, empty boxes, not used for election, but we would label them, they wouldn't look like stuff boxes, we could do something with them, but they could just drop in their feedback, and when we maybe have the end period of the public comment, we could give ourselves maybe a day or so to go get the feedback and kind of draw it up, so that you guys will have everything together.
No, I'm fine. I just want to make sure that we're, we obviously not put them in every single library, but I just want to make sure that we're getting out to the other locations that we never hear about, that wouldn't have access.
And I guess really thinking about it, this suggestion.
It's a good suggestion.
And I thought it was too, but thinking about it, we might just look at like the certain locations. I mean, we won't have a ton of them to, put out, but we want to get them spread out in the area. And there may be something that you guys think of.
There's like a
that's-
Brooks Library in Wrightsville.
See,
And then you can set it up in this little foyer area here, a set of maps for viewing.
yeah, and I thought that would like set, the foyer here, and
Well, is this courthouse still closed?
we could set ours set up. I don't know.
Because if it's open, I would like to set one up where it's the busiest part of that area. So since people are constantly going in there, if it's open,
Mm-hmm.
but with the requirement again, and there needs to be instructions on there, obviously be courteous, but to have they have to be a resident of Pulaski County, and they need to put their address. full name, etc. But to me, that you hit some good traffic in there, whereas we don't get as much traffic in here. But I don't know if they're open, because when I go to their website, it says they're not.
I don't think they are, but I'm not sure, but the libraries are,
Mhm.
and they all have public access. And you've got one in every region of the county.
Yeah,
And I think whoever said.
Think it's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
yeah. Let's just try
I think we
to.
set some out here in the foyer area.
Yeah, we can do it over here too.
And just know where we put them so we can
Well,
go back and get them.
Yes.
they can come and look at it there and not have to engage with anyone.
Yeah, if you could, like, come up with a list, and so we're not like putting 4 in the same part of West Little Rock, because there's numbers right there, and
We'll
then
need to look and we'll have to see if they can.
try to hit
you
the
know,
outside locations that we ignore all the time, because they don't get really any kind of interaction. Because that's, some of those areas that we just want to make sure that they're getting heard.
Mhm.
But no, I think that's a great idea.
And speaking of the maps, I've got a concern after looking at the map that the Quorum Court had put together and what they had put on their map. I think there's some improper information on their map.
We haven't, that's
We
why
haven't-
we haven't put it on our agenda.
We haven't, what now?
That's why it's not on our agenda.
That's why, what's
It's not on our agenda.
the map?
Their map is.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is, our maps shouldn't have what my reading of cases says is information that shouldn't be considered, which is racial makeups. And I noticed they had all that laid out on each section of their map. And our map shouldn't have that.
I don't think we're considering their map at all.
No, I'm just saying, when Metro Plan creates the map, they need to not put that type of information on the map.
No, on the map. And one thing also is.
Wait a minute, that variance
The-
is.
Well, variance, but they had racial percentages and stuff on their map. And I'm not talking about just population, that's fine.
That's
but-
that's on the variance list too. It's there. That we received it.
And,
I mean, it has,
and I mean, it may be on there, but what my reading says is race is not a consideration in terms of maps. I mean, Section 2 of Voter Rights Act, yes, but specifically race, no. What the courts have said.
Right, but you also have to have the percentage information because of the Voting Rights Act. So you have to have that percentage of information, because it varies when you draw the new lines. That's where you can get in trouble. So like when you have the previous districts and the districts that they changed a great percentage, and you have some that goes from, right here let's say you have an 80-20 split, and then it goes from 60-40. That can be, as you know, that can be considered a outlier, and that's the reason you typically have to show the demographics. It has nothing to do with a race component. It's just providing the information to show the consistency in your percentages. And that's the reason that's reported throughout. And you'll see that too on those congressional, when they did the congressional lines, they had to do that for every one of those maps as well for VRA.
yeah, you can't separate a racial identity.
Ideally, it's a separate document. It's not listed on the map.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Right,
not,
it's not
yeah,
on the map.
like a separate document. It's not going to be
Okay.
listed on the map. It's like a separate document to satisfy those requirements. But one thing
Right.
about their map they did not do is that we're taking into account things like, we're trying to reduce our splits. I mean, that is ideal. So we're looking at all the city lines that are coming in, right? All the city lines that are coming in, the congressional lines we're taking in the state, the House, and the Senate. So we're taking in all those lines and doing everything we can to reduce the number of splits. So that obviously did not occur because it didn't have that information. So you
Okay.
should see a huge difference between what was created and what we received.
And it's population too, that's where the line will shift based on
Yeah.
Right.
population change.
So,
So some.
But yeah.
There will be court zones that are gonna geographically get larger because they don't have enough population.
Right. They'll have to take in more people, right?
right, but, yeah, and to Commissioner Scott's point, we need to make sure those are not, the information is not sitting on top of our map, it's a separate report once that's printed, but it shouldn't be on there, it should be printed on the
I'll
map.
verify that.
It typically
think
wouldn't
They
be.
just put the population, because it has to be the 10%, but not racial breakdown.
Yeah.
Because it has to be that variant, you know, the 5%, it can't lean, so it
Right.
doesn't total 10%.
Right.
The stuff on each, but I'll verify that.
Yeah,
I can't remember if we had that like that last time.
yeah, so it should be good. But I'm fine with the libraries. I think that's good. Look at the public commenting period. I just want to make sure that we give enough time, and there needs to be a good buffer for us to take in consideration of whether, one, we can amend a map, or if we need to create a new map, because we don't want to create confusion either. If there's so much public comment that it, you know what I mean? Like, I know that they had issues with that during congressional redistricting as well, that some people were like, I don't know what you've been trying to do here. So we just want to make sure we give ourselves enough time, either whatever we're doing, that we don't want to create confusion.
And in discussing with Metro Plan
Mhm.
today, I talked to them, and they did let me know, or I was asking them about some type of like bullet points, like what we were
Yes,
supposed to
the
do.
changes are.
So I'm going to sit with them tomorrow. They're going to go over, you know, all of them meet the criteria, but they're going to kind of go over what they were, you know,
Like,
trying to
what does
achieve as good as.
what does this do? Like, what's different about this map?
Mhm.
You know, what's different about this map and the previous district?
Yeah, and
Or
I
the
believe
previous
that's what they're
districts.
gonna, it'll at least line out, give us just a little what's different.
Okay, no, that'd be really good.
Our goal when we go out into for the public comment
Yeah.
is to hear what they have to say about things that we may have missed when we looked,
Yes.
when we drew up our maps.
Correct.
And I believe they're called, don't quote me on this, the KMZ files like that you use on Google Earth.
Mhm.
And I kind of hesitated, we talked about that. We're gonna post the PDFs Friday right after the meeting, we'll post the PDFs to our website. And, I mean, unless, I think I could think of some kind of disclaimer. There's people who know how to use the KMZ files, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah,
And so I was thinking, I don't think it would hurt anything to post them.
I don't
And then
think
the
so
people,
either.
we just won't be able to train them on them, you know, so I thought we might just kind of, you know.
maybe
take
reach, I mean, that might be a good conversation to ask, maybe talk to Shelby, maybe give Shelby at GIS a call, say, hey, we really want to enable this ability, but we can't take phone calls and explain this. So how could we what kind of disclaimer could we put on there to say, hey,
Yeah.
use it at your own risk?
That's a good one. Like when you swim.
Yeah, because we don't have time to do this, but
Right.
if you do, great. But
Because
if you
there-
don't, then just use the PDF.
I
But
just know that there's people that know how, and it's pretty cool.
Right.
Because it'll have
I know, I will-
it'll have the current districts to be able to overlay, like what you overlay. And you can even look at map 1 and map 2 and overlay them.
well, you also get all the geeks like myself and others that will go out there and do it for other people anyway, and that will give them the opportunity to share the information with their groups, and I think that's fair. And maybe the Denver Gazette will want to put that information out there, and hopefully they'll provide some fun little interactives, because they have a great tool they've been doing, and I think that's fantastic. So I think that would be helpful. Yeah, I like that idea. I really want it to be as transparent as possible.
Right. Good deal. Well,
Thank you.
If we are on to the next subject.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to let you guys know that when we had our meeting, what's today, Tuesday, last Friday, I'm losing track of days, when I requested for the clerk's office to credit the voting credits, after discussing and getting down to what they really needed, I misinterpreted it.
Okay.
Basically, what they needed was for us, which I always kind of keep a full file anyways, but to declare election irregularity, and just have that incident documented, which it is in the minutes last week, but I thought we could just restate it and send them the minutes, because they need to be able to, when they post the voting credits, know why they took it off the book because it happened at the polling location. So basically what it was there were 29 voters that had voted on the wrong poll books, and 16 of them were recorded at Highland Valley United Methodist Church. 13 were recorded at Greater Christ Temple Pentecostal Church, and we had to take them off the books and send the report so they would have the report of who voted. And that is just correcting, it shows why they added these voters to those books without a voter's signature. We had sent the report, but really it was sent from staff, and it wasn't sent with documentation that the board declared election irregularity on it at the polling location.
Do we need to make a motion to allow for the correction of the irregularity?
It wouldn't hurt anything, but I don't think you do.
No.
It's mainly,
We're just addressing it.
when I discussed it, they needed addressed in the minutes so that, and I misunderstood. The other part of that
I talked to
is-
Daniel.
What?
I talked to
Did you-
Daniel a little bit. Mhm.
Yeah, and the other part of that is one of the things when we discuss the poll books, the electronic poll books, I will say, right now, I stepped into 2 elections, and in this redistricting, and as soon as this election was over, I really wanted, because we'd already done our processes with the poll books and everything when I came along, I want to look at the process, look and study and analyze it. I've already talked to State Board, I've talked to the Secretary of State's office, and kind of got some information from other counties, and basically, things are changing. We're used to, I'm back from the poll book, like written poll book era. Well, the electronic poll books, as long as they're providing us the data.
As long as
The
they are
voter
providing the
precinct
data.
And it does say with ballot style. So that's why I'm saying I need to look at the procedure. They're almost classifying, there's nothing lined out really good with this.
No.
But the data is electronic instead of written, which they do provide poll books too.
Right.
That we can load them into an electronic poll book, and that's voting equipment that we are responsible to have at the polling location
Right.
on election day. So basically it's changing into a digital format, but as far as responsibilities and that go, there's a lot to be said for it because the law does not spell it out. It's clear. So what I would like to do is really study it, see what we can do, what we can't do, and bring it before the board and present it to the board, and let you determine what we should do. I do know that just from seeing the poll books and the amount of effort that they take, that we need to get more of a crew together, and we need to come up with a plan for them if we load the electronic poll books. And it was almost like when I was discussing it with some of the other offices, entities, that they're almost looking at the poll books like voting equipment, only they're poll books. They're equipment that we're sending out to the polling location.
And we do not purchase that.
Right, exactly.
And I had that conversation earlier, that we do not purchase that equipment. It's actually the county clerk.
And logically, because I mean, you guys have too been in elections for quite a while. Logically, I'm thinking we receive the poll books, and and it does say they will provide the precinct voter registration list with the ballot styles, assigned ballot styles. That's what the law says.
Right.
But what everybody was explaining is that they are providing it. It's electronic. We're loading it. So we gotta, I'd like to really dig into it and really see what, where everything falls. It almost sounds like from the feedback I did get from it, when they do, and if they do clean the election laws up, which I'm sure they will for the electronic, it almost sounds like they're going to be handing it to that will be loading it. And the other part of that is when I was visiting with staff that handles the poll books and gets them out to the polling locations and stuff, it's really something that has to go with our office. I mean, with the election equipment, getting them delivered. If they don't get them on time and all the polling locations that we deliver to, we have to have the books and the equipment and get
It would be
that.
nice though if they would have let us choose that equipment.
Exactly, because, I think
Because it
maybe
would have
the
been
smaller
different.
counties may not have a problem, but there's a lot of things that I'm trying to just comprehend, because I would think that it would just. the
Well, you
clerk
would
assign
sync
the
it
ballot styles
before.
And you would get it, but they don't work together.
Well, ideally, you would, like when we did the electronic poll books, study back in 2013, and we were looking at all those different models. It would be you sync it prior to leaving the building, so that you weren't at shaky Wi-Fi locations in these different, throughout these polling sites. So you would sync it prior to that. You did a 24-hour sync, and then you do the morning of sync, and then you take them out.
But see, the other caveat to this is, I guess the electronic poll books came along in November for a big election.
Yes.
And so they came along in November. The poll workers that were trained, because of COVID and being trained so early, were in August, September, that had to be spread out through.
Yes.
So the MiFi that you turn on it looks like it's on. Jody showed me. It looks like, oh, well, that's going to sync. It's on. No, there's more you have to do to the MiFi in order to be sure that it's up for the books to sync to it. So there's a learning curve, and there's a training curve that has not been done. And so they need to get comfortable, just like when the IVOs came along and they didn't even want to touch an IVO. It was like, they need to get used to that. And Amanda said at the same time they got new equipment, they got the poll books, and that is a huge learning curve for poll workers.
And COVID.
And we did vet centers.
Oh, that too.
We just did it all. We just did everything all at once.
Yeah, may I make a comment?
Absolutely.
I think you have a brilliant idea to have some, research and review on the processes and find out what we need to do to make it more accommodating, a better working situation. I mean, even if it takes hiring more staff, part-time staff, for election cycles to get.
And if there's any way possible, I know so far the clerk's office has been great to work with, but we need, I think in the past, the success of the elections has always been the clerk's office, working to have the same information and get the procedures and get things ironed out to get us on the same level, not our equipment intertwining.
Right,
but,
right. I'm just trying to make sure that we're because it's being done differently in every county right now. And that's one thing I have been very vocal about to both the SOS and the state board, is that we need some governance wrapped around this and some processes that are consistent and standardized, because no one really owns it, and everyone agrees, no one really owns these things, and it's weird because it's crossing it's crossing everyone. It's crossing the state board, it's crossing the Secretary of State and the county clerks and us. But when it comes down to their data, that's their data, we don't want in it. But we understand if you have to pass it on, and we're supposed to secure that equipment, it's in our control, we're supposed to secure it. But before it gets to us, we don't want to be in your stuff. That's your duty, that's yours, we don't want to be in it. You hand it off, then it's us. Just about like handing us a piece of paper, Paul, look. Then we have it.
And that's what I need to verify, look, are we receiving? And if not, I'm sure that as far as the clerk's office, they would work with us and go, oh, well, that's, you know.
We just need to find the process.
We
but
just need,
they also need to help define that process and then standardize the process throughout the whole state so that everybody's doing the exact same thing, because that creates an issue too.
well, and it's just like me stepping in and we already were doing them and you know.
No one knew.
And I knew, it's just like in other counties with a new commission or a new clerk or a new, you know, every time it can blow it. If it's not defined, it can really, really mess an election up.
And I don't think they came in, as you know, in such a rush all of a sudden, that it had to be handled somehow.
Yeah, and that was another thing after looking at that on my part. I think I just had in my head, oh, well, I need to show, you know, because it was like 4 o'clock. It was right before your meeting when I received the information. But I should have looked at it closer to go, well, what, you know, what all's going and get the information more. I contacted him, but I still had it miscommunicated from when I contacted him. So I think that something like that I probably could have said, oh, well, next time.
It's
You know, at our next
really
meeting.
helpful to have someone from the county clerk's office here, because that way we can have open communication. And hopefully someone will fill, I guess, Jason's shoes soon so that someone can come.
And I'll let them know too.
Yeah, I mean, the invitation's open, because that way we don't have any miscommunication.
We need to reestablish that line of communication.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you have anything else on that?
That is it. I listed your meetings, but they are posted, and Wrightsville, let me know that it's all good, or we get to go there on the 16th at 7, and that they were gonna put us first on the agenda.
Awesome.
First on the agenda.
Awesome. Did you've reached out to the media and everyone else? Has anyone responded?
You mean on the redistricting?
Yeah,
We've sent.
the meetings.
We've done all the social media, and we've sent out to the media and the distribution list. But I do need to go to the neighborhood.
Next
I have
door.
those notes. Yeah, I still have to do that.
So when you like send information out to like the distribution list, does anyone ever respond to it to let you know they've received it or reach out or?
It shows the people who have not received it, but, you know, because it comes back undeliverable. But I haven't been looking super close today. I did,
Nobody's responded.
nobody's responded to it.
Okay, I just want to make sure they push out that information.
Request to unsubscribe me from this list. Nothing commenting on the.
They probably moved.
The Democrat can say was here tonight, right?
Yeah, just want to make sure that we get that information out and that the news organizations push out the meetings so that people know to come to the meetings. And then to the parties that they know. And did you also send it to the parties?
No, I have not done
Will you
that.
send that out to the
And
parties?
I have a list of people, and today I didn't get to it, so I'll definitely.
I mean, because you can send it to all the candidates in Pulaski County, all the, not candidates, the elected officials in Pulaski County, the
Yes.
JPs, and the parties. And then ask them to also share the information. Maybe they'll help
The state representative.
push it out too.
And it went out to the JPs Friday, but it did not have Wrightsville on it. And so today I was caught up in several things with the election, and I mean, it was nonstop. And so tomorrow morning I thought I'll get that out. So.
I have something I had forwarded to you, but I did reach out because because it's past the deadline and I don't even know how to actually deal with it, but I thought about it. It's really a training issue, so it's something to add to training, because we don't want this to ever happen again. But it was, I was going through Pulaski. I was going through the Pulaski County Election Commission Facebook page to see if anyone was saying anything, making comments. We need to be more proactive in responding to things, answering questions, things like that. And there were times where people would tag them, into a post. And there was a post back in November of 2020. So we passed this timeline, but it is a serious training issue because it's a serious violation of law. So, and we're ultimately responsible for this, even though someone else led them to do it. So, the voter was exposed to coronavirus, and I took screenshots and everything, but and they were complimentary of the staff at the commission, but they couldn't reach. At first, they called and were told that it's too late to get absentee. You just have to vote in person. That's just the way it is. Whatever. And there's really nothing you really can do about that. It was like election day. It was not for election. And so then I think they reached out to their party. The party said, "Oh, there's ways around that," which there's not. And this person, I think, was outside the state of Arkansas. So they don't really understand the laws in Arkansas. And so they were telling, "Oh, there's these other things you can do," right? And probably gave them some advice that was not the best advice. And so then they contacted someone, I think, in the county clerk's office. I don't know who. And they said, "Well, let's figure out a way. There's got to be a way." And they're looking at when it's election day. It's too late. So then they figured out where they should go vote. Found their polling site, and they listed the polling site, so we have that information. And the office contacted the poll workers at the polling site and set up a way for them to vote. Problem was they did it outside.
Problem
This
was
happened-
they did
this
what?
happened in
Say that
November?
again.
They allowed them to vote outside.
Correct. Yes. So they had them sit in their car. They sent it, and this person was
How did
also.
you find out about
They
that?
posted on Facebook and tagged everybody: the election commission, the county clerk,
Well,
other
but we don't know
commissioners,
that it was
people.
true, though.
The poll, I think one of the poll workers or something, the actual polling site. I mean, all these different things saying, "Thank you so much, we appreciate it. It's shout out to us because we were kind, and when we couldn't help them, they really do appreciate, understand we're busy." So they said that basically they were in their car, ladies, they were in their car. They were in their car. They made a few posts about it. They were in their car, and there were two officials that came out. They brought out the ballot. They first came out and got the ID. Then they went back in. They got the right ballot, came back out, and the person witnessed it. And they had two people, from the way it sounded, both persons were able to vote from in the vehicle. And they both voted in the vehicle and then turned in their ballot and then went back inside. So we have a couple of issues there. But no matter what, we need to make sure that they understand that they can't do that.
Well, I have a concern
Yeah,
about
yeah.
what you're presenting
Yeah.
here. You're taking someone's post on Facebook
Yeah.
as a validated event, when I can guarantee you there are a lot of posts on Facebook that are just, they say anything, and you must know that.
This person's a respected person in the community.
You can name the person?
I mean, I don't mind reading the post, but they tagged all of us and they're thanking everybody. The clerk's office liked the post. They tagged them in it. They tagged us in the post. But the point, this is not a condemnation, it's saying that we felt our poll workers, by not getting the proper information, that these are certain, despite, because coronavirus was an issue, there was a lot of things going on, we created a mitigation plan. We did not obviously provide all the information that we possibly could in every situation, and we need to make sure that they have this confirmation of what you cannot do. So I just want to add this to the training side of it, and I can pull it up.
Well, you're still reading from Facebook, which is, there's no verification or no guarantee that any of that is true.
Well, we can contact the voter, we can contact the county clerk's office,
You
but
have
it's too,
pictures,
it's too
you've got
late.
people are gonna witness it, affidavit, this will have to go to court or something, because that's illegal.
It's too late, it's past the time period.
Can I make
Yeah.
a comment on
Yeah.
this? I was also made aware of this last year and reported it to our director.
Really?
Yes. So yes, it actually happened. I was made aware by someone at the clerk's office. They told me about it. I told Brian about it.
So nobody gave that poll worker permission to do this?
No. No one from this office gave the poll workers permission to do that.
I think
But
that's
they
an
coordinated with
important
someone at
point.
the clerk's office, and that someone at the clerk's office did call the poll workers, and they worked this out, of how it was to be done.
Who was that person?
At the clerk's office, it's the current supervisor in voter registration, is the one who called and let me know, last year, after it happened.
Who is the person in the clerk's office that advised our poll workers?
I don't know if this person actually advised the poll workers,
Oh.
but they let me know
Okay.
that
You don't know who it was
this
that did.
happened, and the poll workers were told.
So this
to do
was,
this.
By
so,
who?
I don't know by whom, but it was someone in that office that talked to the clerk, to the people at the poll.
so was it one or two voters? Was it two?
I know for sure one, but I don't know if it was both of them in the car, but I do know for sure one of
Okay, well,
them.
that's a training issue that should be highlighted, obviously, under any circumstances.
And so it didn't get escalated to the board?
I did report it to
No,
the
no.
director at the time. Yes.
Okay. After the election?
Once I was made aware via phone call that that happened. So
Did you get notified of it, like, days after the election? or
On the election day,
day?
so I was notified on the election day. Someone called and said, hey, you're not going to believe what happened. This is what happened.
No, I wonder if,
But you know the poll workers that took out the ballots?
I do not know that. I don't even remember the polling location. I do
I know the
remember
polling
that
location.
happening.
Okay.
And the problem is probably when they did it, they thought that they were helping the voters. The problem is you would have to do that for all the voters. And
Well,
it's
it's-
not against law. I mean, you
yeah,
can't.
our law
It's-
says you can't do that.
It's
Can't do
against,
that.
it's against the law. That's the issue. You can't walk out with a ballot.
We don't have drive-by voting
Correct.
yet. They do in other states.
Drive through.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't walk outside with that ballot.
Right.
That's the issue.
They do in other countries too. But not here.
And again, the voter was very complimentary of everyone, saying, you know, I'm not surprised the voter would almost, you know, risk other voters, but at the same time, I was a little concerned about our poll workers.
Those are trying times too.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it was us, you know, it was exposed. And it's like, we don't expose our coworkers.
And the unfortunate thing is there are probably other people who had similar situations didn't get to vote at all because they were not accommodated so dramatically.
Right, but,
And I'm sure the voters were trying aware.
Of course, but
Yeah.
we're just
They along
thankful.
with it, but,
no, the voter was not aware.
Right.
He was advised that he could do this by his,
Someone from out of state.
from some out of state and his party, and then they contacted that group, and then they contacted someone else, and they made it work. But they went around us. But we just need to make sure that I have the polling site. And I think I sent it to you. So we know that, and we know that, but that is a serious issue. Where is it? Trinity Community Church. I don't know, Trinity Community Church. I guess. So I just want to make sure that, because it's too late to do anything about it, because we're past the time. But I don't want us to ever do it again. And to put that out there. And also but also with that, I want to make sure that we communicate that the kind of information that's being provided, because there was a second issue, remember, we had where I was there, I was present, and you may not be aware, but I was present at a site, and I literally had to get on the phone to a worker to say that is not legal. They were telling someone to go ahead and vote in the location that they used to live. And I was arguing with the worker. No. And they kept telling the voter was like, I don't want to. Like, I want to go to I want to vote in my proper location. And they kept telling, no, because if you do that, I was like, no, this is, and the voter was getting frustrated. The chief judge said, hey, can you help me? I was talking to someone else and called me over there. I said, I don't know what to do. This person is telling this voter to do something that's not legal, and I don't know what to do. I said, it's probably someone new. They just don't understand. There's just so much going on. It's very confusing sometimes. So I talked to them, and I just want to make sure that information, because there's this weird line there, with the poll workers, and then having those phone calls back and forth, and just getting that information of, where's my polling site, where do I go, what's my ballot style, but telling someone to go vote outside, and I'm very sure that, no one else knew about that, but a very specific type, person maybe in that office. I just want to make sure that we let them know that happened. So, if you want to communicate that or not.
Yeah, normally we go over that. and
Like some
training-
lesson learned.
And training really thoroughly, and just like about them voting in the right polling location. We go over that with the poll workers. There's times that we might hear issues, and we usually call the polling site and say, hey, we'll call them during the day if there's anything that they might have forgotten. But yeah, they're normally trained not to take ballots outside the polling location. We're usually really thorough. I wasn't here then, but
Yeah.
so.
And it was a crazy
I'm not saying it
time.
would never happen when I'm here.
It was a crazy
I
time.
mean, but they would know not to.
And we had 50% new poll workers too. So that was also, because we were down to 360, right? 360. Yeah, so we were recruiting like crazy, and we were about 50% new. So it was, there's a lot of new folks around.
Well, it probably also needs to be brought to the attention of the state board as they promulgate their training material.
Yeah, well, I had a little discussion with the state board, just giving the information. I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, I don't really know what to do with this information, because I think the time has passed. But at the same time, just want to make sure I am right. It's not legal. I'm pretty sure it's not legal, because I don't think you can take a ballot outside a polling site. It's like, it just blew my mind. I was like, I don't know. It's just crazy.
They should have been instructed to go, designate an agent for someone in a hospital or a place where they could not and get the absentee ballot from the clerk, go take it and have it voted and bring it back. That whole process is written in our laws.
Yeah.
But it sounds like this chief judge or the guy from out of state They came up with another solution,
An interesting solution.
an interesting one.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I brought that up because I almost forgot about it.
Yeah, and I think because you sent me a couple things, but I didn't remember seeing that they took ballots. I mean, like about, it was a little bit after I started. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah.
And,
Well, there was, yeah, because it had multiple things. Because one, they were like, they said that in the very beginning it said, because this person's like a former superintendent or something, like retired. So I was like, this is not like some just like person off the street, like making crazy accusations. And then they said, at first they said, we just got to go vote in person. I don't care if you have COVID. The way it was kind of worded, I'm like, I don't really see anyone saying that here. Like,
No, I don't either.
that's
Probably say there's no other.
Crazy.
Currently,
but then they came back and said, no, they were really nice. And I'm like, okay. That's a little different than earlier. But one thing we had asked for, we wanted a lessons learned from 2020 of, you know, and we did ask for those complaints, but
I just never got that.
never received it.
Can I change?
But thank you for that, Amanda.
Yeah, no, that's.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Are they back there updating as they come in?
Yeah, I saw someone walking by a while ago.
I mean, are they entering it and posting it online as they come in?
they
Yeah, it-
should be.
it depends if they can stop and take a break on how fast the returns are coming in.
Right.
to
I
post
know,
them.
Let me
there's
look.
one area is coming in 3 and.
I got a text asking me.
I know.
Well, let's see, the numbers,
And I think that's what they do sometimes.
The numbers are the same.
They don't stop and,
Yeah, I thought they were the
so they
same.
can get them all posted. but-
yeah, the numbers are the same right now.
I do have something from the last meeting. You guys wanted clarification
Yes, please.
on that one traditional voter
Yes,
signature.
yes.
So I did verify with the clerk's office, it was a completely different person's signature on the whole book.
Okay,
So that voter did not vote
all right.
previously, so.
And they fixed it on the sheet to reflect that information?
I did not send them the sheet back, but I do have it in email form.
Okay.
Save that.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yes. So I do have that.
Okay. Did you hear that?
Mhm.
Okay.
So with your permission, I will notify the voter tomorrow
Yeah,
that that will be counted.
yeah, it was a different, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for saving that email
Yes.
for documentation.
I'll go check on that.
That feels like a week ago. Was it?
It was Friday,
Okay.
or that was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. I'm losing track of my days because of all the elections.
It's a time change. It's
Mhm.
nothing-
Oh, that
Oh, that too, yeah. Well, they are starting to come in because I saw a supervisor walk by. the door.
Yes, I saw a supervisor walk by.
The status.
You know, Tim, if you bring Chick-fil-A drinks, you're supposed to bring them for everybody.
Actually, I didn't even get her in time to enjoy it. I got the tea.
That's what I'm saying. A tea. Sweet tea. Sweet tea.
So did we say we were gonna set the timeline for?
Yeah, we said we'll come back Friday, so let's all just look at it, what we have currently, and see if we can tighten it a little bit.
Okay, is this gonna be like this coming Friday when we have our first event?
Yeah, just everyone look at it and let's try to come to consensus. I mean, I want to shorten it just a little bit, but not too much because I want to give them enough time.
Right.
So I'll look at it, everybody else look at it. Let's try to
Because we'll
come to
have to come back.
consensus.
To certify this election on the 19th.
Yes. Unless I'm able to leave early. We still will be certifying, but yeah. I really need a vacation.
And then when you're leaving and I'm leaving that next week.
Mhm. Are you going to be here Friday?
I am.
Okay, and then Saturday you're going to be gone? are you going to be here partially?
You're just coming to their little events?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'll be here. I'm here.
What-
It's the Tuesday when you go to Wrightsville.
Oh, it's Wrightsville that you're going to be gone, okay. Wrightsville. Yes, ma'am? Not yet. We can, but we want to wait for her to come back and see where we are. Thank you, though. Yes, yeah. We know the mic's on, thank you.
We're just, talking.
Yeah, we're talking, yeah. Yeah.
So what election are we having next Tuesday?
We're not having any elections next Tuesday. We should not have another election until May of next year.
Cool.
Some other counties are already having elections,
So,
What is the primary date in May? Have y'all heard?
you know?
yeah, but I can't remember for the moment.
I'll tell you.
It's
I got
May.
you.
May.
I'll tell you when the governor's election is, or the general.
That's gonna
It's
be-
November 8th, because it's on my birthday.
Oh, great. I
Okay.
don't know what you'll be doing on your birthday.
Yeah,
The primary election is May 24th.
I was gonna say May 22nd, May 20.
May 24th, early voting starts May the 9th. The general primary, AKA runoff primary, will be June 21st.
So we know we have at least 4 elections. But not 10.
Not then.
Not 10 elections. It should come in much faster than last time because it's not countywide.
Yeah, definitely.
True.
Yes. Update?
They are about to upload what they have so far.
And what do they have so far?
We have almost all the areas in but one, but they have uploaded the results for 2 areas, and they're still unpacking all the stuff from the other ones that have come
Which
in.
area is out?
I can't remember what areas it is. B and I can't remember the other one.
Is it
Honestly,
far?
I think it's A and B.
Is
that
it
they
far?
uploaded.
Is it far than one that's out?
No, they're all fairly close. Bart had to go to a location to get this media stick out of the machine that was left.
Okay.
So we're waiting on that too, and that's not far away.
So how long should we recess?
Let's go with 30 minutes, play it safe.
Okay, we'll recess.
But they
till-
are updating summary.
Okay, so if you go to votepulaski.net, you can see